Hello, welcome to Steve McDonald's Arts and Crafts, and today what we're going to do is we're going to make a resin tray, and we're going to make a Christmas one as I promised when I made my other tray. And what I'm going to be using for that is I'm going to be using some card that I'm going to stamp on. I've also got these little snowflakes that my lovely friend Dulce sent me, who's got a great channel. I'll link her channel in the description below. And I'm also going to use my Sizzix machine as well to cut these out. So without too much further ado, let's get on. So the first thing I want to do is I've got this piece of white card and I'm going to pop my tray over the top of it. And the reason is I want a base that is a background, but not a photograph, but also not made just out of resin. So all I'm going to do for this is I'm going to cut around. I'm just going to quickly draw around the actual mold. Then I'm going to cut round and fit this into the mold. So I've cut the piece of card out now and it fits in there nicely, as you can see. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just draw my little scene on here, similar to what I did on the coasters. And that's just going to be a snowy scene with a bit of a bank going on it like that. So then we're going to have sky, and then we're going to have snow here. And then I'm going to put all the bits and pieces on this. I'm just going to use acrylic paints for that, just to quickly do it, a couple of coats. And I will do the edges, but this is quite a shiny card, and it's not going to really be affected by the resin once I put the resin in. So I'm not worried about sealing it afterwards, because the acrylic paint will seal it. So I've painted all my background now, as you can see. So that's how the background's going to look. And I've also made some little embellishments to put in it as well, and I used my Sizzix machine to make these. So for instance, I've made a Christmas tree. I cut that out by hand, actually. Added some fake like grass or whatever it is to it, just to give it a bit more texture. I made a little snowman, which is going to go there. And I also made some, actually I might put the snowman somewhere. I might put him right next to the tree. And I also made a little family of deer to go there too. And I had some of the wooden snowflakes, as I said, that Dulce kindly sent me. So they're going to get scattered around as well. And then a little star to put onto the top of the tree. And I put some tinsel on the tree because I just thought, well, why not? It's Christmas and it looked cute. And I had this little tiny tinsel. So what I'm going to do is, as well, I'm also going to add some dots of glitter on it to break it up, which is the silver grey glitter, and I shall just put that on using some glue. So I'm going to go ahead and stick all this down, and then I'm going to show you how I will embed this into the tray mould. So this is ready now to put into the mould. I've glued everything down, so that should be okay now. I'm quite pleased how it came out. It really does make a difference, though, once the resin goes on it. Now, how I'm going to do this is I'm going to do this in 2 pours. And I'm just going to move a bit of the resin around to make sure it gets everywhere to stick it down. Then I'm just going to pop this in, like so. And it should fit in there nicely, because it's well cut out, as we saw. I'm just going to push that down. Let the resin come out and squeeze up over the top of it. And push out any air that I've trapped in there as well. And then what I'm going to do is, where there's probably going to be things that are going to be slightly porous, like the tree and the tinsel, I'm going to put some resin on that first. Let that cure up, and then I will do the final pour to this once all this is cured up. And what I find is that just stops a lot of bubbles coming up from different bits and pieces as well. So I'm not worried what that looks like at the moment. I will keep pushing that down with my spatula if it lifts up. Keep pushing that tinsel down and putting it into the position that I want it. The first layer of this is cured now, and why I like to do it in 2 layers is It really does cut down on the amount of bubbles that you'll get come up from card and bits and pieces that you've put in. Also, the tinsel is completely cured now as well, so you're less likely to get any bubbles come up from that. And actually, what I do find as well is that the actual image itself won't float up and it will stay nice and flat. So it's really worth just taking the time when you're doing something like this to give it a quick pour, let it cure, and then give it another quick pour. And normally you can do a second pour over this within about 12 hours, maybe a little bit less. As long as it's starting to go solid, then you're absolutely fine. What I will do now is I will let this cure probably for about 48 hours, because it's a large piece, so it's going to need about 48 hours to cure, because you don't want it to be bending around. Then I'll take it out and then I will pop in the handles and show you how to do that. Well, this tray is now cured. I'm really pleased with how it's come out. So it just needs to be taken out of the mold. There we go, it's out of the mold now. I'm going to put a nice felt base on the bottom of this, because I could have painted the back of the picture and then I wouldn't needed to do that. But if I'm totally honest, I completely forgot. And then put the handles on, and I'll show you how I do the handles. How I do that is I line these up by eye because of the shape of the tray, and I know that I want the handle to be about there. That looks about even to me on the tray. And then all I do is I use the handle, I push down on it really hard, and then what that'll do is that'll mark where I want the handle to go, and then I will drill the holes through with my drill bit. And I try and get a drill bit as close as possible, if not just slightly, very, very slightly, because you don't want to crack your tray, smaller than the actual screw thread, so that when I screw it in, it gets in there quite firm. So I'm going to go ahead now. You don't need to see me drilling this, because I'm sure you've seen drilling before. I'm going to go ahead now and drill these holes, and then I'll show you how I put the handle on. This is what I mean by how tight it is. It's not really tight, so it's not going to crack. So I can just gently screw it through there. Okay, it's just going in very easy, but what it isn't is it's not just loose throwing in and out. And that way it keeps the handles on these much tighter, and they're far less likely to come loose. And then what I do is I screw them through so they're just popping out there like that. I then put the handles onto where they need to be, onto those screws, like so. Hold it there, and then screw it in the remainder of the way. And that way they're nice and tight, the screws don't move, and also you get a cleaner finish, a real clean finish. And that tray is finished. I love how that tray's come out. And what I also did while I was doing this is I also made some little coasters that go with it as well. Didn't put the snowman in them, but I did put a tree in them. And if you want to know how I make the coasters, then check out the video that's coming up next. Thank you to all my members of this channel. If you want to become a member, just hit that join button. There's lots of additional perks that you can get for being a member, and it really does help me keep this channel going and buying all these things. If you'd like to just say thank you, then check out the Buy Me a Coffee link in the description below. Click on that and buy me a coffee. Every bit really is most appreciated. I couldn't do this without you guys supporting me and helping me. Check out the video that's coming up on the end. Enjoy your resin. Take care. Bye.